Hi.
Hello.
Aw, thank you. Have a seat. Kyle, Jalen, Kyle.
Jalen, you play nice.
I'll be right back.
What's going on, little man? So you got your game skills down, Pack. You might have your hands full once I'll pick up the controller, little man.
Put it back. Keep your hands on my mama. Keep your hands on my Doritos.
Put them back. Today we're playing Dimir. We're playing an interesting deck. We're playing Bounce coupled with Discard. Now the idea is simple. Make them discard everything. And if they get stuff into play, put it back in their hand so you can keep making them discard everything. Let's check it out. So I've kind of got a cold, so I apologize ahead of time if my voice is a little wonky. But anyway, this deck's really interesting, and I've been enjoying it. So the idea is basically, I was looking at Inscription of Ruin, and normally cards like this, Mind Rot effects that make the opponent discard 2 cards for 3 mana, they're not so great because later in the game you draw them and their opponent already doesn't have any cards left in their hand, and they're kind of useless. But Inscription of Ruin is really great in that it has 3 modes. So if you get this later in the game, it's never a dead card. If you can't use it to get rid of cards in their hand, you can use it to get back one of your creatures, or you can use it to kill one of their creatures. So the idea of having these 3 modes on one card makes a Mind Rot effect that much more usable. And I thought, how do we make the most out of something like this? And so the idea is we're playing discard. We're playing 4 Inscription of Ruin, 4 Kitesail Freebooter, 4 Acquisitions Expert. And what we want to do is basically make them discard their entire hand. Now, obviously, you can't make them discard their entire hand. They're going to get some stuff into play while you're trying to completely run them out of cards. Now, when that happens, we're utilizing Bounce. So we've got 4 Barrin, Tolarian Archmage, 4 Brazen Borrowers, 3 Into the Roil, and 3 Runaway Together. Now, Barrin's great because when Barrin comes into play, if you bounce your own creature, you get to draw a card. So a lot of times, if you don't have to bounce something of theirs, but they have cards left in their hand you need to get rid of, you bounce your own Acquisitions Expert, or in some edge cases, your own Kitesail Freebooter. You'll draw a card at the end of turn because you returned your own creature to your hand, and then you'll replay Acquisitions Expert and make them discard another card from their hand. And when Barrin's in play, he's a wizard, so Acquisitions Expert will actually let you look at 2 cards before deciding which one to get rid of. So there's a lot of built-in synergy there. Same thing with Brazen Borrower. You know, you can Petty Theft to get rid of something and then play it as the creature, and then Barrin could theoretically come down, return Brazen Borrower to your hand, and then you could replay Petty Theft and replay the creature, while also drawing an extra card from Barrin. There's a lot of built-in synergy here, and it's awesome. Same thing with Runaway Together. I would love to run 4. The only issue is if you do not have a creature in play, you actually can't play Runaway Together. So sometimes it's a detriment, and because of that, we're only running 3 copies, but it adds insane value if you can pull it off. If you have an Acquisitions Expert in play, or a Barrin, or any number of other things, you can play the Runaway Together at instant speed, return one of their creatures to their hand, return your Acquisitions Expert or your Barrin to your hand to start gaining extra advantage off replaying those cards, and then their creature is in their hand so that you can get them to discard it. Tons and tons of synergy here, and it works really well. We've also got Into the Roil, because if we have a turn where we need to spend a 2 mana or 3 mana discard spell, but we also need to bounce a thing to their hand to make them discard it, we can play this for cheap. We can play it for 2 mana, still have enough mana left over to make them discard whatever we send back to their hand. But if we get this later in the game, we can kick it, draw an extra card, and a lot of times if you make it to the late game, that extra card advantage makes all the difference in the world to getting there. So 3 copies of Into the Roil, 3 copies of Runaway Together. I find this works great. On top of that, we've got 4 copies of Murderous Rider. Now, obviously, Swift End is amazing instant speed removal. We can hit a creature, we can hit a planeswalker. But what's really great about it in this deck is you can then play it as the creature and use the cards that we already talked about to return it to our hand and replay the Swift End ability. So we get extra chances to cast Swift End and to remove extra threats. Just so much synergy piled on with all of these cards being able to work together. We've also got 2 Glasspool Mimics, and when that comes into play, it can copy any of our creatures. And 2 Elspeth's Nightmare, because again, this is another discard ability. When it hits page 2, lets us get rid of a non-creature, non-land card in their hand. But it's also, it generates a lot of value, because the first page can hit a creature. So we can drop this down, hit a creature, page 2 will trigger next turn, we get to discard a card. And a lot of times we can put this into play and we can plan on that trigger happening. So we play Elspeth's Nightmare, kill something, and then next turn, a lot of times we can untap, and then in response to page 2 triggering, we can do something like Petty Theft from Brazen Borrowers, the adventure side of Brazen Borrower. We can use that Petty Theft, return something to their hand right before page 2 triggers, and then we can choose to make them discard that thing, as long as it's a non-creature. So there's a ton of little synergy built into all of these cards, and it works really, really well. Being able to kick Inscription of Ruin in the late game and get all 3 abilities is gravy. We've also got 2 Hagra Maulings in the land base, as well as 3 Agadeem's Awakening. And this is good because, again, late game, we have plenty of land. We top deck this instead of a normal swamp, and now we're able to kill another creature, and sometimes that can make all the difference in the world. Agadeem's Awakening's great in this deck, because if we can even just cast it for 3, we can get back one of our discard creatures and one of our other creatures, like a Barrin, and that can do a lot of work, even just that. But if we can play it for 4, we can get back an Atris. And Atris is amazing. We've got 2 copies because it's legendary, but we can get multiple triggers off Atris by returning it to our own hand with some of these abilities. And that can be really, really crazy. Also, the added effect of having Menace to try and get in some last points of damage sometimes when you're trying to edge out a victory, that's helpful as well. But being able to recast Atris and grab more cards and refill up your hand, awesome. To top it out at the top end, we have 2 Ashioks. Ashiok's awesome, everybody knows that. Planeswalker, and it's just going to generate a lot of value for us. A lot of times this one card will generate threats that they have to deal with multiple cards. But what's great about Ashiok in this deck is, since we're making them discard most of their cards, they are really open to being susceptible to his -3. They're very rarely going to have any cards in their hand by the time we play an Ashiok, so we can just -3, and full well knowing that whatever we return, they're going to have to exile. And absolutely, absolutely great when you can get this to happen. So this is the deck. We run 7 islands, 5 swamps, 2 Clearwater Pathways, and 3 Temple of Deceits. We have a total of 7 lands that come into play tapped, and this is good for the math. This makes sure that we only have at max 1, typically on average, in our opening hand, so that once turn 2 hits and on, we don't have to worry about untapped, or rather, lands that come into play tapped. And we have enough modal spells to really get extra value in the late game. So I think it works really, really well. It's not quite tier 1, but it's pretty close, and I'm really excited to see if Kaldheim can bring just another couple cards that could really push an archetype like this over the edge. But for now, this is the deck. I think it puts in a lot of work, and it's got amazing synergy, and it's a ton of fun. So let's check out the games. All right. This looks decent. It's not amazing. We could use another land. And getting Ashiok early isn't so hot. But we've got a Freebooter, followed up by a Brazen Borrower at the least. And then we do have a Barrin to play. So we should be fine. We'll keep this. We'll lead with Temple of Deceit. And we'll try to fetch another land. Although Elspeth's Nightmare is pretty good. No, we need another land. We definitely need another land. Confounding Conundrum. Nice, we got our land. Alright, so Swamp. We'll play a Freebooter. We'll try and rip some creature control out of his hand. He's just gonna Stern Dismissal, right? That actually seems really bad for him if he Stern Dismissals. Let's take Opt away. Like, go ahead, waste your Stern Dismissal. And then we'll replay the Freebooter and take something else. He's probably just gonna hold on to his mana for Mesmeric Glare at this point. Nope. You doing that? I am more than okay with that. Blue or black? We'll go blue. Don't know what he's thinking. He should have done that during my turn, so that Conundrum would trigger, but he did not. I think that's a big oops. Looks like the whole point is with Conundrum in play, he uses Field of Ruin on my turn, and I can't play a land or else it returns to my hand. Which would actually be really, really good. We're gonna swing. We're gonna hope he's dumb enough to use a Stern Dismissal on the Freebooter. Nope. End turn. My turn. I think I just go for it. No, we need to get him to use that fucking counterspell. Maybe this is the best way to do that. Let's see if we can get him to use his counterspell. Alright. We'll play Hagra Mauling as a land. That way next turn we can play an Ashiok. Swing one. End the turn. Hold on to our Brazen Borrower. Alright, try to play this out. If he counterspells, then he doesn't have a counterspell for our Ashiok, which is really, really good. If he doesn't counterspell, it's going to be in a pretty rough position. Alright, that feels wonderful. First, we'll swing for one.
Beautiful nightmares with me.
Could return the Confounding Conundrum, but then he gets to draw another card when he replays it. I think it might be better to get out some threats for now. I don't think he has a way to deal with Ashiok other than trying to counter it. So we try to just build a board. Alright, we get him to waste one of his Stern Dismissals. That's not so bad. Barrin. What's he gonna do? Give us back our Freebooter? Give us back our Ashiok? Seems okay. You want to play this game? Hey, Valix. What's going on? This deck is full of shenanigans. Alright, we've got 6. We need 7 to kick that. So... first we'll swing. We'll replay the Ashiok. And then we'll tick up and make a creature again. That's fine. You can opt.
Welcome to my domain.
Well, I'll tell you this much. Either way, it sounds like a whole lot of fun. Sakashima of 1,000 Faces. We're pressuring him. I think he's running out of gas. And our hand is just kind of full of gas. In its own way. Alright, gives us back the Ashiok. Probably passes the turn. So that he can flash in the Borrower. Nope, it's going to play the Sprite. That's fine. 7, 7, 7. If I do that, he Stern Dismissals. To make him discard his cards, he'll Stern Dismissal again. Could kill a thing. He can't save his own guy, I know that much. I think my best bet still is this. And then make a creature. And then swing with this 2/3. And then play the Mimic as a land, because next turn we'll be able to kick the Inscription. You can make a recommendation, sure. I'm not 100% sure if I'll go with it. It really depends on how many of the cards I already own. I have mostly play sets of everything, but I'm not quite there with everything yet. But yeah, what are you thinking? Let me know. So if we can kick this Inscription, it's going to be disgusting. We kill one of his creatures. Could bring one of our creatures back. And we can make him discard 2 cards. So what we want to do is probably trade the Kitesail Freebooter for the Sprite in that situation. Because we can get the Kitesail Freebooter back with the Inscription. We don't have anything else in the graveyard right now that we can get back with the Inscription. So theoretically, it lets us kill the Sprite for free. In a way. Don't want to return the Sprite, that's for sure. We just do it now, and then, yeah, that's what we want to do. Okay, so, we kick the Inscription, discard, destroy. We destroy this, and we make him discard. So he'll probably return a creature to our hand. That's fine. Then we can -3, return Barrin, and he has to exile a card from hand, and Barrin's his only card in his hand.
Surrender every morsel of fear.
Interesting. So you're talking historic, I assume. It looks fun. I'll look into it after today's stream is off. See if I can get something built together for tomorrow, or at least, you know, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. But maybe tomorrow, depending on how much of the deck I already have. I'll look into it. Sounds interesting. Alright, he's drawing cards. He's out of mana. We're in a really, really good position here. If I wanted to, I could return my own Freebooter, rip something new out of his hand by replaying it, and then also draw a card because of Barrin's ability. Let's try that. We definitely don't need to play the Ashiok. Elspeth's Nightmare. Sure, why not? Alright, we'll swing with everything. Probably doesn't have anything for 1. He could have another Stern Dismissal, but I don't think so. We've already gone through a lot of them. 1, 2, at least 2. 3. Yeah, we've gone through 3 of them. Alright, we'll play Barrin. Return our Kitesail Freebooter. And replay the Kitesail Freebooter. Now, if we're lucky, we'll find something to hit that's actually better than the opt. Alright, so then we replay the Freebooter. Yeah. I'm not letting you steal my thing. And I get to draw a card. Hooray for drawing cards. It's a good question, Finn. I'm really not sure. I don't know about you guys, but there is a lot of snow where I am. It is cold and dreary. I am staying inside and warm and snuggly to the best of my ability. Alright, he opts. He's probably just going to save his domination. He could take the 2/3. It wouldn't be completely awful. Yep. That's what he's gonna do. But we've got plays. We've got plays. First we play the Freebooter. Take a look at his hand. Get rid of the Frogify. Then we'll play Elspeth's Nightmare. Get rid of the 2/3. Then we'll swing. Then we will uptick and get a creature. Then we play a Temple. Another Elspeth's Nightmare. Well, we won't be able to use that on the Borrower, so I think we should probably get rid of it. Alright. With coffee delivery, yeah! Cyborg knows. Cyborg is a good fellow. Well, we do it this way. We say, go back in your hand. And then exile. Then we swing.
Inspired.
Play mana. We'll hold on to the Ashiok. I'd much rather keep it in my hand as a panic button if he deals with the first one than get greedy and just play it to get an extra activation. All of that sounds awful. Yeah, we got him. We got him. Guess we'll try to keep this. Sure there is. You kill them before they mill you. Like, Ugin's a huge problem. Because it does too much with one card. You could turn the entire tide of the game with one card. And that's a problem. I mean, hell, even if you had to sack Ugin, its ability is still crazy. Which you don't. You get to use it multiple times, which is crazy. Absolute nut. Absolutely nutty. Extinction event. I guess we have to take that now. So he plays what? Underworld Dreams or Nighthawk Scavenger? Probably Scavenger first. Oh, he can't play either. He doesn't have the mana. This is good for us. Yep, this is good for us. We grab another Underworld Dreams. Now he has to play Scavenger, and then we kill the Scavenger with our Murderous Rider. Nope, he's gonna play the Caravan, which is fine. We don't really care about that right now. We can deal with him later. What we are gonna do is make him discard 2 cards from his hand. He's gonna be really sad. He keeps one of his combo pieces. We're in pretty good shape. I think we play Atris first. Try and get ahead on card advantage again. Yep, that is absolutely what this is. Put that on the bottom. We'll play Atris. Like I said, get ahead on card advantage. Next turn, we'll Murderous Rider, Karavek, and swing in for a bunch. We'll hold on to Brazen Borrower. Yeah, we don't need that one card. That's fine. That is fine. Next turn's gonna be a big turn. We can make him discard 2 cards with Inscription if we want. And then hold on to Murderous Rider and kill the crawling Barrins at instant speed. Do we trade with Karavek here? I think maybe we do. Because now we don't have to waste a removal spell on it. Oh, plays the Extinction event. That's pretty bad. He gets back a whole lot of good shit. That's a problem for us. That's a big problem. Big problem. Make him discard first. Because he may discard something being like, oh, I got 2 of them. So I can just keep one and discard the other one. If we can get him to make that kind of decision first, and then follow up with the freebooter, we can hit the second one. Whereas if we had done the freebooter first, that wouldn't necessarily be the case. If we do the freebooter first, and we take a card, like say he had 2 extinction events, we take the extinction event, and then we go, hey, discard 3, or discard 2. He won't discard the second extinction event at that point, because he's going to need it to kill the freebooter. So doing it in that order was really, really smart. Do we want to bounce it? I guess we don't have to right now, right? Because it's already hitting us. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess the smart thing to do would be to play this so we can make sure we can hit something with a discard next turn, and then end the turn. If he comes at me with the Crawling Barrens, we Murderous Rider it. Otherwise, we wait. We Brazen Borrower the Underworld Dreams. And on our turn, we hit the Underworld Dreams with Elspeth's Nightmare. Probably hold on to that. We can get a 2-drop and a 3-drop back. If we get one more land, we can get a 4-drop back, which seems pretty good. So let's do this. Let's go Swift End this guy. Play out the Murderous Rider past the turn. We'll save the Borrower to flash in after he plays the Scavenger. We could bounce Murderous Rider to our hand. Draw a card and then have another... Yeah, let's do that. Pass turn. I want to hold it up at instant speed, because now I have options. If he activates the Barrens, I could use the Murderous Rider on it. My hope is just that the threat of that activation makes him not do that. Because I'd much rather just play out the Brazen Borrower here and trade the Brazen Borrower for the Scavenger, so that I can save the Murderous Rider to deal with the Barrens later. Oh wait, I don't have 2 blue. So I guess I just have to do this. It's fine, at least he doesn't gain life. What to do. I think the problem is I have to be ready to Hagra Mauling if he turns the Crawling Barrens on. Maybe I can afford to wait a turn. It won't be attacking for that much. I think I would rather get out what I can get out now. And then use Hagra Mauling after he's sunk even more mana into this. I can afford to take 4 if I have to, in order to get this guy out and to flash in a Brazen Borrower. And then on my next turn I can I can Hagra Mauling, or, even better, I can run away together at instant speed. If he turns it into a creature, I could return it to his hand. Which we didn't need to do, but it was still a possibility. Alright, we can almost do the things we want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what we want. So we'll put that away. So now we have Runaway Together and Hagra Mauling that we can hold up on his turn. And then on our next turn, we can Agadeem's Awakening for 4. And we can get back the Atris, Murderous Rider, and if one of our 2-drop dies, we can get that back. So we want to keep that in mind, that theoretically we can lose the Freebooter and then get it back for free next turn when we play the Awakening. I think we're okay here. We have a lot of options. Lot of options. Come on, boy. Send that crawling Barrens at me. Ha! We got him. Who needs to counter spells when you can just take away their spells before you have to counter them? Anyway, thanks for checking it out. Subscribe somewhere around here. Check out other videos somewhere around there. And until next time, always making scoop.